Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to very quickly introduce Jonquel Kolb, our general manager. Jonquel, let's get from here.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much to everybody for being here on what is a really special day for this organization, announcing what I think is one of the biggest trades in franchise history. But before we get to your questions and introducing the special person and player, I do have a lot of thank yous to get. Deals like this are hard, and it takes time, and it takes a lot of people. It's not just one person. So to take that off, I really want to thank our ownership group, Clara Rusai, Joe Tsai, and Ollie Weisberg. To put it frank, we're not here at this table with you guys today without their investment in our team, not only monetarily, but their care factor. It's through the roof. So I want to thank them. I want to thank everybody in our ops department. I want to thank our assistant GM, Nima Nayanen. I want to thank Ben Dole, Dustin Gray, and Kayla Reese. The other members of this deal, the Connecticut Sun and the Dallas Wings, these are hard, like I said, and without their communication and transparency and openness during this deal, this doesn't get done either, so thank you to them. Whenever you get a player of this caliber, you have to give up value. It's hard. Becky is one of the best people I know. I miss seeing her every single day. She was a staple of this franchise. She was here for many iterations of rosters throughout really her tenure. So we wish her nothing but the best with the Connecticut Sun. Crystal Dangerfield, while not here a long time, made a major impact. She took a chance on us. She came over on multiple 7-day contracts before she earned a roster spot. And I don't think we do what we did last year in terms of a playoff push without her. So wishing her well in Dallas. And then last but certainly not least, Natasha Howard. Natasha bet on us. We were a 2-win team coming out of the bubble, and she chose to come here. And that says a lot. I think you saw. Just want to say those thank yous. And now I'm sure you're tired of hearing me drone on, but we're here for your questions as we introduce MVP Jonquel Jones to the New York Liberty.
We are going to start here in the room, so if we have questions, if you could just raise your hand. We also have folks on Zoom, so I want to be cognizant of that as well. We'll start here.
Just remember about this group. What made them so tough to beat, and what has you so excited for the future that made New York such an attractive destination?
Well, first off, thank you. Thank you for inviting me and thank you for kind words. I am excited to be here. It's a pleasure to say that I am a part of this organization. So first off, thank you everybody that's here right now. For me, playing against the guys here, I saw a shift in culture, that was for sure. The way they played, high octane basketball, playing both sides of the ball. A lot of young talent that was very, lively, and you can see they were invested in winning, and like I said, changing their culture. So for me, I wanted to be a part of that. Obviously, great coaching staff. You've seen what Sandy's done, what Love has done in their careers. And so, I just wanted to be a part of that, and to be in a city like New York, it speaks for itself. I don't really have to say much about that. So altogether, it just felt like the right move. I know it's the right move for this chapter of my life.
Appreciate your time and insight. Thank you. And I have a question for Jonathan and Sandy. It's kind of a joint question. Going into what's basically year 3 of the Sabrina Ionescu era, how important was it to surround Sabrina with a proven and a downright historic talent like Jonquel as we go into the proverbial so important 3rd year of a franchise basis career?
Yeah, I think for me, anytime you have a chance to get somebody like this right here, you jump at that. You have to. Players like Jonquel do not become available very often, so the idea of pairing her with Sabrina is really exciting, and I think they're going to be a dynamic duo for a long time. I really do.
Great to see so many familiar faces. This is a really great day to welcome JJ. I've admired her for so many years, and now I get to coach her. So it really, I'm super excited. Glad that she's super excited and she chose New York. But look, Sabrina, I think you saw the development of her game last year. I think her and Natasha did great in the pick and roll game. But now we're adding another player of the caliber of JJ. Obviously she's a stretch four, she can play inside, she can play outside, she's great in the pick and roll, she's a facilitator. So when you've got really 2 great players on the court, how do teams guard it? That makes it a little harder. It's a chess game. But look, I think the upside, I spoke to JJ, I think the sky's the limit for her. And that's our goal, is continue to improving her game with the players that we have here, and she's just a perfect fit. So we're super excited to have her here.
Requests in the straight. I was wondering, what was the straw that broke the camel's back, or what led you to want to change direction in your career?
Yeah, obviously I've been always in Connecticut for the entirety of my career until this point. And for me, I felt like it was just time for a change, time for a new chapter. If you go back to any of the, Connecticut front office, we had that conversation about me stepping into a new chapter in my career. Obviously, bubble season happened, I didn't play, we had some injuries and we had to get at time. And so for me last year, it was like, okay, let's see what this team looks like, full strength, fully healthy. But I came into that season knowing that it would probably be my last in Connecticut. But I wanted to give them all, and I wanted to see what that team looked like and what it felt like. Obviously, we didn't accomplish what we wanted to accomplish. This is a new chapter, but ultimately, I knew that for my growth as an athlete and as a person, I wanted to be able to step into a new situation, come to a new organization, and better myself. So definitely something that took a long time to think about, but I'm happy that I chose New York. I'm happy that I chose me.
We're going to go to Jackie next.
You are a player who has had a lot of experience in the playoffs, and this is a roster that you're entering that, they've had an elimination game, they've had a first round series. And so my question for you is, with the amount of playoff experience you've had, with the amount of playoff heartbreak that you've had, how, I guess, do you think you're going to grow as a leader, with all that experience you've had, giving that to this young group of players?
Yeah, great question. I think I'm going to, thrive in that role. I'm extremely excited to be in that role, to be able to, help the younger players and be a voice of reason, whatever we can talk about up here. And, being in Connecticut, I can, tell the first hand that you may think that you have more opportunities, but no opportunity is as important as the one that you have before you right then, right now. So I think that's going to be extremely important, is getting, letting them understand that every opportunity matters, and every chance you get to step in the court, it's an opportunity to play your best, and the future is not promised. So in order for us to maximize our potential, play at the level that we're going to be capable of playing at, which is a very high level, we're going to have to be willing to sacrifice and play our game.
Appreciate that. And for Jonathan and Sandy, with JJ on this team, I'm curious about how the identity of this team changes. The narrative in the past couple of years has been that this is a gritty group, that's underestimated and that works hard. And so when you add someone that's so talented like JJ, how do you imagine, I guess, the identity staying the same but also changing?
Well, I think it elevates everything you spoke about. I mean, to be a championship winning team, you look at the best teams, like what do Vegas do well? Okay, like for us, I've spoken about playing great defense. She's she's been in all defensive teams. She's one of the greatest rebounders in the WNBA. That helps our game already. And we want to make sure that we're putting the right people around it. We've got, obviously JJ, but we also got Kayla Thornton this year. And, her defensive rating last year is I think she was 7th in the league. That's quite impressive. She's got that toughness. So we're getting players together that complement each other. We still want to play basketball in the right way. It's playing at both ends of the floor, committing to be not just a great player, but a great teammate. That's how we achieve all the goals that we've set out in front of us. And, that's why JJ is such a big part of what we want to do here. And, we've made progress, but we want to win. So that's the goal of not just the New York Liberty, but every organisation. And look, that's signing JJ's helped us that first step to get closer, to achieving that. But a lot of hard work needs to go in it before we can get there.
All right, we're going to go.
First championship, and I know that meant a lot to you. You guys came close. What would it mean to you to help New York, an original WNBA franchise, win a first championship?
Oh man, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Everybody knows that New York is a basketball city. People love the game. Even with me just being here, I went to the grocery store. People are talking about it already, about winning the championship. you know, I go to get something to eat, people are talking to me about it. So, you know, they're really excited about it, and it would mean everything to me to be able to win a championship here in New York, but also I think it would mean a lot to the WNBA for the league and its growth. And so, yeah, I'm excited about it, and I know that, you know, we can get there, and, you know, we keep working hard every day. It's definitely something that we can achieve, so I'm really excited about the opportunity to be able to do that.
And Jonathan, just how big this move is, which is enormous. Free agency is still coming up. Can you just talk about the fact that the Liberty may not be done in terms of what how different the franchise may look going into this next season?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about it a little bit. I know this answer will draw groans from here to Syracuse, but it's not 5 o'clock yet, and we're on the official free agency list. So look, we're going to be really aggressive. I think we're hell-bent on bringing a championship. It's what we said for 2019, and we're going to say it every single year. But I think we've proven that we're willing to be aggressive, and we'll continue to do that. So we're very excited at the opportunity to add talent, and we'll see how this plays out over the next few weeks.
Thank you, appreciate it.
How do you see most about coming to the city?
Oh wow! Like I said before, you know, just everything off the court, you know, marketing-wise, people, and being a basketball city. I think the opportunities are endless, and I think that was one of the biggest things that excited me. And, you know, I think growing my brand too, like not shying away from that, and understanding that it's an area that I can grow in, and you know, being able to do that as well.
Have you had any good meals here yet, or experiences yet, or?
I've just been trying to get settled, but you know they have some fish in the back of me. They have some Brondello, so I was very impressed to see that already. So yeah, I already know it's going to be good food, so I definitely got to stay in the gym when I'm out here.
Thank you.
On the other side, how do you project their ability to draw and read defenses will open up the floor for the game?
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. I think everybody's going to eat off of us being able to thrive in pick and roll. I think defenses are definitely going to have to respect them. They're both you know, players that are known to be able to score at a high clip. Like you said, be able to create their own offense. So I think it's just going to open up things for everybody, and it's definitely going to be mutually beneficial. So yeah, like I've been saying all the time, I'm excited.
And Sandy, great to see you. Last season, the team struggled at times with consistency. So how does adding players like Jonquel and Caleb Thornton just take a step further to addressing that challenge?
Yeah, I mean, I think the consistency thing that all basketball teams try to achieve, don't they? And I think when you get someone with Kayla and JJ's experience, that helps. It's a settling. They've been in these big moments before. We relatively had a young team, although we did have a lot of injuries too that we had to overcome. But you know, for us it's more about what do we need to do to be better. You know, we can't be happy with what we've done. We made progress, but okay, let's get better. And you know, obviously Jonathan and I, we speak and I hear all the time about what do we need to do. And you know, we're very lucky and happy that JJ chose us. She could have went to many other different teams, but she chose us because I think she sees the vision that we have set out, and you know, we think we can make her an even better player than what she is, and she's an amazing player already. So excited about, you know, integrating her with the core group that we do have, and as you said, you know, free agency, we still want to keep being aggressive and continue to build this into a championship winning team. And players, the names of players doesn't mean you're going to win a championship, does it? You know, it's all about coming together and building the teamwork that we need to be great. And JJ's had opportunities to play in WNBA finals, and I think that experience will help us as we move forward.
For me, like I was telling some of the front office members here, like I'm pretty bad with my phone, right? So, like I think for me it's beneficial, right? People hate it sometimes. They're trying to reach me and I'm not picking up my phone, so I just kind of like I'll rest it down somewhere, and maybe hours before I pick it up again. And so I feel like it's kind of helped me manage this whole process really well. For me, it kind of was really quiet. Like obviously, I requested the trade. First, it was me having meetings with teams and talking to coaches and really seeing how I would fit in with the core groups that all the teams had. Then I made the decision, and we were talking about having a press conference and just letting everything come, I guess, naturally or the way it's supposed to go, and then like it breaks. On Instagram, it's like craziness, just complete craziness, like, and I think that's when my phone just started going crazy. And, you know, I hit my agent and I'm like, well, can I talk about it now? Everybody's talking about it on social media. He's like, well, it's not official, so no. So I'm like, I'm just sitting there just scrolling and seeing it. And I'm like, this is crazy. Everybody else is talking about it, but the person who's in the trade can't really say anything. So it was definitely interesting. But I'm happy for the league that, you know, that we can get to this point and that player movement is something, you know, that draws the buzz and excitement and ultimately grows the league. And, you know, for the New York franchise, like I said, I'm happy because I feel like it's going to be not just important for the organization, but important for the WNBA.
To follow up with Sandy and Jonathan here, you know, end of season press conferences last year where there was an emphasis on free agency and what this team could be this year. But correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't think JJ was part of that conversation. When did you know that this was going to be a possibility, and what was the process like to bring her into the fold?
Yeah, so I'm trying to really retrace this because it seems like a blur, to be honest with you. It really does. It seems like it took a long time to prepare. I mean, one backstory I have, you know, we always prepare for free agency well in advance. You never know what's going to happen. I've had a Jonquel Liberty jersey in my office for a year, and I'm not kidding, because I thought before last year when she got poor, I thought, hey, maybe we'll take a run. I literally had that in my office all year, all season. And when we heard after the season that there may be movement, we were having a ring right away, as you would imagine, probably every team in the league did. And the process was simply that we got on a call with our coaching staff and with JJ, myself, Onima, and Sabrina actually. And we had a conversation about what this can be and how special it can be. As you all asked earlier about winning in New York, there is nothing like that. We want to do that. So we jumped at that chance, and like I said, the transaction itself, the negotiations, it goes a million different directions, and I still probably haven't slept, but now I won't sleep just because of excitement. So that's pretty much how it went.
We're both of West Indian descent. How would you like the New York Liberty to celebrate us and also the league?
Well, you know, that was one of the main things that actually drew me to New York as well. I kind of had like a list of teams who, after I spoke with them on a Zoom call and the marketing team, that was an emphasis for them before I even said anything to them. It was like the West Indian culture, what can we do, how can we tie it in? And so for me, it just, you know, I could tell that they took the time to really think about where I was from and, you know, the communities and the people that we can impact, which is also extremely important to me. So, you know, obviously the Bahamian Consul General is here right now, and it means a lot to the Bahamas, but it also means a lot to the West Indian community. So I'm all ears and I'm open to anything that we can do, but the marketing team was already in on that. So like I said, that's what drew me. You know, games for West Indian people, definitely the food, you know, whatever we can do, we're going to try to do it.
Absolutely. One more thing, that suit is clean, by the way. My second question is, from a season ticket holder, Deidre, who I know you will meet at some point, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to actually doing here? Or what are some of the things that you'd like to do here? You have to know.
Yeah, I mean, for years I've been trying, I don't know if it's going to seem really like touristy, but for years I've been trying to watch like The Lion King on Broadway. So I'm just like waiting for the time that I can actually go. My girlfriend went without me, so it's been a popular topic. You know, I'm upset with her about that. But, so we get to go now. Just exploring the city, really seeing what it means to you know, be a New Yorker, because I've always done the touristy things, and so just really kind of getting it from that more, what's the word, authentic point of view in terms of, you know, being a New Yorker. And I think I want to definitely be more immersed in like the sports culture too, like going to games and stuff, because I love baseball games, I love basketball games, and to say that I'm a part of a city like that now, I'm really excited for, you know, coming from a small market. So I feel like it's endless in my mind. It's just like constantly thinking of things to do, but I'm going to be out there for sure.
All right, we're going to quickly go to Zoom. Annie Constable.
This question is for JJ. Hey, JJ, Annie Constable from the Sun-Times in Chicago. we asked a question, I may ask a question about free agency, but obviously it opens up tomorrow. How are you approaching your role recruiting players who've been linked to the Liberty already?
I mean, anything that the organization needs me to do, I'm there. You know, obviously, we want to put our best foot forward, and you know, I'm all in on whatever they want to do. But as of right now, like you said, we haven't really done anything. It hasn't started yet, but when it does, we'll be there.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Mark Schindler.
Hey, JJ, really nice to see you. So, Sandy mentioned as well, and you mentioned too, in terms of taking the next step with your game. When you're thinking through that, you know, envisioning what it's like playing with staff and just being in a more spaced out offense, what kind of things are you thinking through or envisioning maybe being that next step for you?
Yeah, I think you know, one of the things that we talked about with the coaching staff is just me being a little bit more efficient about picking roles, and I think that's going to really open up the game. Me just being able to go roll a little bit quicker, understand how to space it out. I think all of those things are going to open the court up. Obviously, like I said before, Sabrina is going to be able to, you know, create her own shot, find me in the right time, right space. So I'm really excited about that. And I think the attention that I draw is going to allow her to be able to be successful as well.
Awesome. And then Jonathan, for you, you know, we just spoke recently about, you know, some of the difficulties of being a GM and going through some of the player management. When you are inversely, you know, from talking to JJ, when you have to, you know, call Beck Allen and let her know she's being traded, or letting Chris Dangerfield know, like, what is that like, as much as you can kind of let us know?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll keep some of that private, just from the sense of, you know, just personal relationships. But those calls are really difficult. One thing I think I'm proud of is that people want to be here, and so it is hard to break that news to them. But what I will say is everyone was a professional on those calls, and they understood the business side of this, which gets said a lot. But I really have to emphasize, this isn't fantasy basketball. There's real people on the other side of these transactions. They matter. They want to be here and things like that. So, yeah, doing those calls, it is tough, but it is part of it, and it's part of getting better as a team.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right, lastly, we're going to go to Sasha Lightborn on Zoom.
Good afternoon, hi JJ.
What's going on, Sasha?
Right there. My first question is actually for Jonathan. Jonathan, do you understand that you have actually extended an entire country?
Yes, we're thrilled.
Yeah, so the entire Bahamas is now a part of the New York Liberty. And my question to JJ, you know, I saw you in Connecticut, you're now in New York. How will you get, and I'm sure it's going to be so much easier to get to New York from the Bahamas because there are many direct flights. What would you say to Bahamians now who have never had an opportunity to watch you play in person and just try to encourage them to come out to some of your games?
Yes, I would say that, like you said, it's a lot of direct flights. So, you know, start booking your tickets. You know, the schedule is already out. It's right there. You can Google it. And we're ready. We're excited to have as many games as possible. Let's pack the house. Let's show up and let's be proud of it. I think the product that we're going to put out there is going to be really, really great. And I would love for the games to be a part of that.
Brooklyn Nets and Barclays Center a safe, comfortable, and enjoyable sports experience. Be advised that many spectators engaging in